simple concept that was developed by a fighter pilot in the United States Air Force named John Boyd. And their autobiography on John is called Boyd, the Man Who Changed the Art of War. You all know that Art of War comes from Sun Tzu. It's a pretty, that's a pretty big subtitle, but he really did. He was a brilliant man. He was a distinguished fighter pilot. He flew F-100s, I believe, in, well, he flew them in training. He flew in Korea, and I'm not sure what aircraft he flew offhand in Korea, but he came back and he was a trainee pilot in the F-100. And the F-100 was an airplane that a lot of pilots were afraid of because it had some unusual handling characteristics that scared a lot of pilots when they were learning to fly it. And so they really didn't take it to the edge of its envelope. Now, operationally, there was a corner in the envelope that they were afraid of. And John wasn't afraid of that corner. He actually utilized it for, he exploited it. And he developed the name, he was known as 32nd Boyd because he had a running bet. If you wanted to challenge him, you'd meet up over a fix and you would come up on Colonel Boyd's tail, and within 30 seconds he would reverse it and be on your tail. If he couldn't do it in 30 seconds, that later became 40 seconds. If he couldn't do it within 30 seconds, there was a cash prize, but it was also a loss if you didn't. Well, he remained unbeaten, and he tied once with a Marine major, and after the bout, after the dogfight, he actually hired that Marine to be a teacher at Nellis. After that, he went to engineering school. I think it was Georgia Tech. Got an engineering degree, and he became the pilot who worked on developing what later became the F-16 Viper, the Fighting Falcon as it was called. And he kept it very tightly controlled. The Air Force wanted to add on all kinds of crap and make it multi-mission and do all kinds of stupid stuff to it. And Boyd refused to allow that to happen. So the OODA loop, with his fighter pilot knowledge, he came up with this concept of how to engage an opponent and defeat him. The idea behind the OODA loop is that you stay inside the decision circle of this loop of your opponent. So obviously you have to observe the situation, or I'm sorry, observe the situation, you orient yourself to that situation, then you decide what you're going to do, and then you act. That's OODA. And if you can make that process, do that process faster than your opponent can do the same to you, that's staying inside this OODA loop. That's giving yourself the advantage of acting in advance of a reaction or your opponent's action. It's really that simple, but it applies to a lot of things that you do and you don't even realize you're doing it. Defensive driving is all about staying inside somebody else's OODA loop. When you're sparring with somebody, you observe them, and you observe, for instance, you observe what they like to do. Are they a puncher? Are they a kicker? Are they looking to grapple with you? You orient yourself according to that observation. You decide on how you're going to deal with that, like not punching with a puncher, not kicking with a kicker, and you act accordingly. It's really that simple.